noticed that amendments that we made at the last meeting were not included. Okay. That amendments made at the last meeting we all had are not included in this, some of them. And they needed to be included. I'm gonna, maybe you can hear Joe better. I'm gonna turn it over.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, members of the council and constituents. Following the comments that I made earlier this week, I want to reiterate that I have heard our residents, business owners, and property owners loud and clear. Many have asked us to slow down, be deliberate, and ensure that any changes to our zoning ordinances are thoughtful, clear, and in the best interest of the town of Exeter. For that reason, I cannot support broad, sweeping amendments to our zoning ordinance unless they have been thoroughly vetted, are legally sound, and can be clearly understood by those who will be affected by them. I request, thank you very much for proposing the town council workshop, which I was going to also propose as well. So the workshop you proposed would provide an opportunity for the council to work collaboratively with our town planner, the planning board, solicitor, staff, businesses in the community, and residents to develop ordinances that are organized, consistent, and aligned with Exeter's comprehensive plan. Our objective is to not put anyone out of business or create unnecessary barriers. Our responsibility is to develop reasonable land use regulations that provide clarity, fairness, and predictability for property owners, businesses, and residents alike. As part of that process, I believe each proposed land use should be carefully evaluated and classified as either a permitted use by right, a use requiring a special use permit with clearly defined standards, or a prohibited use where necessary to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. I also recommend that we begin with our existing ordinance and first improve its overall organization. The zoning use table should be restructured into a more user-friendly format consistent with those used successfully by neighboring communities. This alone would make the ordinance far easier for residents, applicants, and town officials to understand and administer. Additionally, many of the changes that were proposed to be before us tonight are substantial policy decisions. Rather than treating them as minor amendments, I believe they should be considered as major amendments so they receive the comprehensive review that they are due by the planning board, the public, and all the other stakeholders that deserve to have purview over these ordinances. The ordinance before us contains a significant number of complex revisions. Attempting to adopt them all at once is neither efficient nor practical. The scope of these changes makes them difficult for residents, business owners, and council members to fully evaluate in a single meeting. Good policy requires careful review, not rush decision-making. There is nothing wrong with taking the time to get this right. In fact, it is our obligation as council members. Our residents expect us to adapt ordinances that are clear, enforceable, legally defensible, and reflective of Exeter's long-term vision. Therefore, I respectfully request that we defer these broader amendments and establish that structured workshop process address only these changes that are truly necessary in the immediate term, and thoughtfully work through the remaining revisions in a transparent and methodical manner. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak on the council? I will call a vote. Roll call vote. Ray Morrissey. Jamie Schiffer.
Yes.
Joe Turner.
Yes.
Calvin Ellis.
Yes.
Diane Allen, yes.
I'd like to make a proposal. Due to the overwhelming attendance at tonight's public hearing, I do appreciate everybody that's taken the time to come out. Nice to see the town taking interest, not the town meeting. We've been talking about this for a while. It's better to have a lot more participation from everybody. That way we can get your concerns, understand them, and adapt them into the new ordinances. So the restriction on how long we have to discuss these issues, and the fact that the moratorium expires next Tuesday, is going to take much longer. It's going to take much longer to accurately review the context of these changes. Therefore, I propose an additional 60-day moratorium if the matter still exists. 60 days, the planner will have developed zoning ordinances that are legally sound and can be transparently reviewed at a future hearing.
Keep things the same.
Is there a second?
There's a
Stop
motion.
changing shit. You don't like it, leave.
Further discussion? Hearing no one else, take roll call again. I'll take the roll call on the motion. Roll call, Ray Morrissey.
No.
Jamie Schiffer.
Yes.
Joe Turner.
Yes.
Calvin Ellis. Diane Allen, no. That was to extend the moratorium 60 days.
Sunlight on you.
I'll try to yell louder.
Like, I don't even know if it's on. There's nothing coming out of this one.
Put that fan just 1 minute. You put that fan. That's all the way down. That all the way up my end, just out of curiosity. Right. See if it makes a difference. It doesn't make a difference.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing. Second. It's seconded. All those in favor? Aye. We have a list here of people.
Nobody knows what you're voting on back here. Nobody can hear you.
To open the public hearing. as to whether I can, there's a question as to whether I can open the public hearing or not, seeing as I just said that we're going to do it all differently and have workshops. So I'm not sure, maybe I can let a couple of people speak. I'll let you decide. Do you want, I would like to hear some people. Do you want to speak, or would you like to just, go to the workshops and speak there? Have a vote of the public. Okay.
I don't think all you people really understand. There's been so much misinformation in this town that it's unbelievable. Look at all you people who turned out. You're all concerned. You all have a concern about something. And all of this is all balanced on one person on the other side of town. And by doing that, it triggered something. And by triggering it, everybody came under scrutiny. The town council rushed into this thing, and excuse me, the meeting they had, that was a public hearing, was embarrassing because everybody spoke at once and nobody really got listened to. What they want to do tonight is they want to extend it to protect everybody. The woodcutters, the residents who moved here from beautiful houses, they want to protect everybody. So
Kicking the can down the road.
So what they should do tonight, and they're going to ask you to do this, everybody who signed up to have something to say, please come up and say it and tell them exactly how you feel. Then that's going to go into the record. Then when they move forward, they have that evidence. If somebody gets up and speaks and says something that you like, then just get up and say, I like what Danny Patterson said, or whatever, and move it along. But let everybody be heard. Let the woodcutters be heard. Let the people who live in a residential neighborhood who think that the guy next to them, because they moved in, is doing something wrong. It has to settle for all the town. There's no sense. I've been here for 35 years, I've never seen anybody pissed off at everybody like it is now. Everybody's going to beef with their neighbor. It's not right. This is a friendly town. I ask you, I implore you, to stay that way. Please let them do what they want to do. They're trying to help you. Some of you think, well, I'm a woodcutter, you're going to screw me. The other one thinks, I got a beautiful house next to a woodcutter. They're going to screw me. This is a lovely town. Please, don't be screaming and yelling and trying to make everybody intimidated. Please, let them know. Let them do what they're going to do. Because what they're trying to do is protect all of it. And it's not sound like I'm upset, I am. Because I've seen things in this town happen that just aren't right. They're just not right. We're neighbors. We don't need to be pissing off at one another. I'm sorry if I made an asshole of myself, but that's the result.
We had a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, the first person to talk tonight is Scott Patel. Oh, no.
I'll do it, Dave.
Oh.
Good evening, members of the council, fellow Exeter residents. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Scott Patel. I've been a member of this community for over 40 years. I have volunteered in your public safety, in the fire, the rescue, the dispatch for 40 years. I look around this room tonight at the number of people here who I know personally, who I've been to your house, whether on a rescue call or a fire call, who I've worked with, worked for, helped, supported, helped one another over the years. And I support all of you. To the council members, I wanted to open this meeting up tonight asking you to do what you just did, asking you to slow down and take this step by step with an impact on each of the people here and how each of these potential changes is going to have an impact. We have to be able to look at our neighbors, these people we care about. They pay the taxes. They vote you in.
Amen.
We, as a community, all have to have an input in this. I thank you. I wish this happened before tonight, what you just did. I thank the council for the steps you just took. And with the steps you just took, I hope all of you who have an interest, if you, the council, in coordination with the planning board, can coordinate the changes, the proposed changes, and get it publicly advertised, the changes for daycares, the changes for this, the changes, have it advertised so you don't have over 200 people coming out for every single one of these hearings. The people who are most interested and most concerned will come and address those, and you and the stakeholders can hear what they have to say. I love this community. I have no intention of leaving it. I don't want to leave it, but I feel like I'm being pushed out. Thank you.
Cassidy? Rita Cassidy?
Thank you, members of the town council, for allowing me to speak. Can you hear me now? I'm not sure if I've been the person that's been marked for causing this. I won't respond to the Facebook garbage that you see on Facebook. I'm not a newcomer to this town. I've lived here since 1961. And I am that person on Arcadia Road that might be behind some of this. Not the current zoning inspector. I worked with Karen Ellsworth. And to tell you how long this has been going on, two of the people who have been complaining about this have since died, left me to do this. So I've been working with Karen Ellsworth. Anybody here that would like to walk my property, anybody here, and see a couple 100-foot channel of erosion that has come from the abutting property. If anybody wants to see how my property, an egress and access, has been made inaccessible, therefore losing value to that property. If anybody would like to look at the collapsed mobile home, anybody here that would like to talk to me about silt, about sound over the state allowed decibels, if anybody wants to talk to me about rats, which I never had on my property since 1961, and there's always been animals on that property. We never had rats. If anybody wants to talk to me about air quality, how 2 cancer patients couldn't open up their windows because of the silt, who's protecting me? There'll always be woodcutters. We need woodcutters. And no one's going to be taking away, I have them, a chainsaw, I have a wood splitter, I have all these things. I have wood stacked on my property, I have a wood stove. We'll always need tree services. But there should be regulations where we're not impacted. A lot of misinformation has come out here. I've stood among you and I've heard it. And it's not fair. No one's trying to take jobs away. But things should be done to protect the rights of the people who have lived here for so long. and not the rights of people who just do what they want, when they want to do it, hurt the wetlands, which I can prove, hurt Roaring Brook stream that goes, all the runoff that's coming by and ruining the property. It's not fair. It's not fair to put a target on the current zoning inspector's back, who I've never called. My husband never called, and my sister never called. I think Dixie probably saw who was calling and just not them again. And God knows we tried. So it's not fair. Put the target on my back. And any one of you are welcome to come and see where I live and how I live and how I maintain my property and how I'm letting the other property go fallow. A property that was once proudly farmed and used, and now it's covered in silt. It's not fair.
Tammy Lyles.
Hi, I'm Tammy Lyles. I live in 86 Hopkins Hill Road.
Quiet, please.
Is this a little bit better? Okay. Thank you very much for postponing these zoning ordinance amendments. I'm going to go ahead though and read what I had prepared. I will have to say one thing. I think I'm a little disappointed about the moratorium because I do feel that there are people in this audience who are being disenfranchised, and this is a word I'm going to use a couple times in my little talk. You're holding up their abilities to move forward with their businesses or their permits and things like that, so I feel for those people. I also feel greatly for the woman who just spoke, and I wish that she could have had much better results, much better response. These are things that not only the town has to be aware of, but also DEM has to be aware of. I'm not sure how this situation happened for her, but I do feel that she's probably not getting addressed the way she should, and I hope that that will change for her. But I'm going to continue on with what I had prepared for tonight. You know, I'm going to switch pages here, so I'll leave my hands. I really want to address the potential legal challenges, and I'm glad, Joe, that you spoke more about that. This proposed zoning ordinance. In my opinion, of the review of this extremely convoluted document of ordinance amendments, which no doubt was designed purposely for that intent, I see nothing but several future legal challenges coming to the town of Exeter's way. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I can even see many potentially unconstitutional infringements and contradictions to federal and state laws and regulations, that it will become a jobs program for attorneys, thereby adding the town's already numerous lawsuits, as we the taxpayers have to pay for it. Let me give you a couple of examples. First, something that may be unconstitutional, and this was already brought up, and thank you very much, Diane, for saying it, because this is the gist of what is my biggest concern, is if the cell, and this is in the spreadsheet that was in the handout, is blank, the business or activity, and activity is the key word for me, is not allowed in the zoning district, therefore meaning it is prohibited. There is similar language in other areas of the proposal saying any use not specifically listed or prohibited, which could be applied to anything left blank, not addressed, would then automatically be prohibited. So, in a simplified way, are you trying to say to me that having a picnic and drinking a glass of wine in my backyard is a prohibited activity because it's not on the ordinance. But I would probably say even more importantly, are you saying that I can't shoot my guns on my personal shooting range in my 44 acres? Because if these are the prohibitions and they are purposely left out because it's an activity and it was forgotten, you have to realize these are First Amendment and Second Amendment issues. And that's just a start. Rhode Island state law says that I can do these things. But the way this is originally laid out, it sounds like a prohibited activity to me. So it's kind of creating a slippery slope and infringing upon people's rights. Let's move on to Rhode Island's Right to Farm Act. Some of the amendments listed, such as in wood processing section, do not align with the right to farm. What about land disturbance section? Farming is nothing but land disturbance. There are also setback issues that do not align with DEM policies. We are community-centered on agricultural and forestry. I'm sure if I had more time, I could come up with several other contradictions to these areas alone. And like I said, I'm not even an attorney. It's just plain to see. So my big rhetorical question is, why has the town council allowed a document like this to be prepared in such a manner? I would think the town would hire an attorney capable enough of drafting a document as sweeping as this one is, that wouldn't even come close to having all these contradictions. Or that attorney should have the oversight skills to be able to see all these potential challenges, because there's nothing but challenges in this current document. If the town attorney is working in the town's best interest, why would he or she allow the town to present something like this to the residents? It costs a lot of money to do this stuff. You gotta be more conscientious of what you're going to put forward, because the last thing we need are more legal challenges. So I hope you all as a town council will reject, as you have, for the time being, these so-called amendments based on legal aspects alone. And like you've done, it now goes back so that we can have it redone. But that is not where it ends. These sweeping ordinance amendments seem to me to be designed to disenfranchise residents who operate home businesses and small businesses on their property as either their main source of income or supplemental income. Remember, we have to afford the ever-increasing real estate taxes around here. And why does the town want to disenfranchise people from doing that? Put restrictions on I can understand some of these restrictions, but some of these are kind of ridiculous. Or is that the objective, to disenfranchise people? Is it the policy, kind of in the back door, to force people to sell their properties so that outsiders can gobble up the land and build their multi-million-dollar homes, or let developers come in to build a variety of subdivisions not in character with the rural Exeter? Not only that, but it appears to me that these amendments will interfere with Exeter residents' right to how they live on their properties, what they do, have, or even store on their properties. Now, I can understand and appreciate wanting there to be some guardrails, but we're not a homeowners association. We're not governed by covenants and restrictions. If you wish to live that way, you are more than welcome to purchase real estate in a subdivision with all those restrictions. However, what I cannot understand, knowing that Exeter residents like living in a diverse rural environment, why the town has decided to take on everything all at once rather than prioritizing one zoning concern at a time, which I'm glad the workshops is going to cover this, because I think we'll be able to get a lot accomplished in doing that, and people will be heard much better. Wouldn't it be better and more well thought out way to take one thing at a time? And I'm hopeful that that is the direction that we're going. Wouldn't the amendments themselves have a better legal standing, and more importantly, means of enforcement? You know, it's fine to talk about all these amendments, but if nothing's getting enforced, then what's the point? And one more thing. Why all these changes? And why now, and to what end? So let me ask this, is the council planning to side with the vast majority of Exeter residents or some small vocal minority? I think you all may need to take a step back, like you are, to reevaluate what you are presenting to the residents and return with something that focuses on common sense and Exeter values, and not some utopian wish list that I think some members are kind of pushing. Remember, if we tacitly agree to all these restrictions, the likelihood of those restrictions ever being withdrawn, modified, or altered hereafter is highly unlikely. Once they're in, they're going to be hard to get rid of. So let me conclude with reading a couple excerpts from the 2044 Exeter Comprehensive Plan on the Vision Statement, as it's referred to in the proposal.
Has to be moved.
I'm sorry to hear that. Anyway, are everybody okay?
There's a Honda Accord in front of the door out front. If you own it, can you move it because of fire?
I think he just left. Go do it.
We've had one person that
Are we all
we've
set?
had one person now leaving in an ambulance because of heat exhaustion. So if we can just have everyone talk for very little, I don't know how long, we may have to postpone this because of the heat.
Okay. I'm almost.
Let's try and just not be as long. Yes.
Okay, I'll finish up here real quick. All right. Our vision statement on the comprehensive plan says, in 2044, Exeter remains a peaceful and welcoming small town with a strong sense of community, a rural tradition, and a landscape of space, privacy. Residents cherish its forests, fields, and wildlife, streams and ponds, and historic places, and the conservation lands and working lands, farm and forest enterprises that anchor the town's rural character. We protect environmentally sensitive places, wildlife corridors, and our clean water sources to help preserve our open space tradition. New residential development within the landscape is primarily focused in hamlets, villages, or conservation subdivisions. At the same time, we welcome balanced non-residential development into designated areas that enhance our tax base and respect our natural resources and general character of the community. I'm going to move forward because I think this is important to a lot of people here. We are committed to pursuing balanced economic growth policies that strengthen the town's tax base, build on our assets, and enhance small-scale businesses that serve residents. We promote the economic viability of our farm and forest enterprises, recognizing their importance in both their heritage and continuing assets. I believe in what is being proposed tonight. Thankfully, we're sending it back, and my interpretation is not living up to that vision. I hope you will reject these proposed zoning ordinance amendments and take a more common sense approach that is legally sound, maintains our rights, and is in keeping with our rural integrity. Thank you for your time and attention, everybody.
trying to figure out how to proceed, so just give us a couple of minutes. Can you hear me?
As a result of some health issues due to the temperatures in here, and we can't turn those other fans on, they're gonna call the meeting for the rest of the night. The rescue just took somebody, oh, listen! The rescue just took somebody to the hospital just now. We've got another person over here, lightheaded, gonna pass out. We don't have the resources to take 10 or 12 of you to the hospital. Listen to the council. Let them reschedule, let them go to the high school where it's in air conditioning. Please, public safety.